Hello and welcome to Physicality Therapies. Today we're going to be looking at centering in Pilates. This is the important part of setting your body up from your head to your toe to begin a Pilates workout. So let's get started. So starting off, we're going to start off with our feet. So for our feet, start off with your feet together, any position on the mat. We're going to be looking at standing posture first. So we're going to turn our toes out like a pizza slice, and then we're going to bring our heels into match so that your feet are hip distance apart. So now you've set your feet nice and straight with your toes pointed forwards. We're going to then move up the body. So we're going to start now with your pelvis. So with your pelvis, you can just start by tipping it forwards and backwards. So if you just start tipping your pelvis forwards and backwards, imagine your pelvis is a bowl of water. You're going to tip some water out the front and some out the back as you just sort of twist forwards and backwards with your pelvis. So you don't want to exaggerate this movement and get your whole back involved. It's literally a small movement from your pelvis. So then you're going to find your two extremes, so forwards and backwards, and then you're going to find the midpoint in between these to set a neutral position. So once you've found that, you can put your hands on your hips to help with that. We're then going to move up to your shoulders. So your shoulders need to be nice and set down. So arms by your sides, shoulders down. You want your collarbones nice and wide at the front here. So you want to just bring your shoulders back into a neutral position so you've got nice, if you imagine, sort of smiling collarbones, not sort of crunched, not over exaggerated, but again, a just nice middle position. And you want to imagine you're drawing your shoulder blades down into your back pockets. So you just want to bring those shoulders down away from your ears. So you're just going to bring those down. Then to set your head and neck, you're going to imagine that you've got a helium balloon attached to the top of your head. You're just going to imagine that slowly pulling up on your head and just elongating your neck. So you're just going to pull that neck back, again keeping everything positioned. So now what we're going to move on to is your weight. So your weight you want positioned on your feet. So keeping everything else nice and central, you're going to just rock forwards and backwards on your feet. So just forwards and backwards. So you're just going to gently bring your weight over your toes, gently bring your weight over your heels. And again, you want a nice mid position. And you want to make sure that you've got nice arches in your feet. So you want to make sure that that weight is evenly distributed on your sort of big toe and your little toe as well as your heel, so that you bring those arches and you bring your feet into a nice neutral position. So here you're nice and set up in standing. So now we need to look at that position when you get down in the mat. So if you get down into your Pilates rest position, which is your feet, again, straight together, you're going to be lying down and you're going to need some sort of pillow behind your neck. I'll show you how to select that in a minute. So first off, in this position, keep your feet together, keep your arms down by your sides. You're going to again turn your feet out to that pizza slice and heels to follow so that you get your feet set. To get your pelvis set in this position, what you need to do is again tip forwards and backwards. So nice and slowly, again sloshing that water out the front and out the back. If you're finding this difficult, pop your thumbs in your belly button, your fingers going down to your pubic bone so that you form a diamond on your stomach like that. So you're going to form that diamond. Then what you're going to do is you're going to tip forwards and backwards as if you've got a marble in that diamond, and you just find in that position where that marble doesn't move. And in this position you can also tip side to side as well to find that side position. So now you've set your pelvis and your feet, again moving up to your shoulders. So again, keeping your shoulder blades nice and far apart underneath you, drawing them down into your back pockets. Again, you're looking for your smiling collarbones. And then your neck, you want to set that in a neutral position. So you want it nice and long. So you want to be looking straight up at the ceiling, nice and long. And what you don't want is like a little dip. So here I'm going to need some form of pillow underneath my head or a pad to raise it up about that much. So about 2 inches you'd want to raise my head up on this mat. So you can do that with a rolled up towel under your head. You can do that with a special Pilates pad or just a cushion. But you don't want anything to be too soft, just so that you get that support. And the support needs to go under your head and not under your neck. Because when you do sort of the exercises with your neck, you want to be able to move your neck, having the support under your head. So that's how to find it in this position. So another quite common position we use is side lying. So in order to set yourself in this position, if you get onto your side on your mat, again you want some sort of pillow under your head. Stretch your arm that you're lying on out straight ahead of you. You're going to pop your head on that arm, on your pad or whatever. You're then going to put your heels against the back of the mat. The easiest way is to line yourself up with the back of the mat. So if you put your heels and your feet against the back of the mat there, you then want your hips against the back of that mat and your shoulder against the back of that mat. So you're all in one straight line. Your knees are slightly bent to about 90 degrees and your hips are slightly bent to about 45 degrees. So elongate those hips out. And then from this position, in order to find your neutral, you want to imagine you're drawing that top hip away from the bottom hip. So you're elongating that top hip down so that under the side of you, you can feel like there's a little gap. So under this front side here that's touching the mat, there should be a little gap about down by your waist, and that gap, imagine you've got like a little raspberry in there that you don't want to squash. So when you're in this position here, you can feel that you're elongating that hip. Again, your shoulders should be in line, your neck nice and long and supported with a pad under your head. In this position, we don't do a lot for the neck, so that pad can be quite nice and supported under there. And that's how to set yourself in this position. Heels glued together, feet glued together, and align yourself to your back of your mat is your best way of doing this. So we're just going to add in a little bonus bit about abdominal control. So when you're in your neutral position, it's really important to get your abdominal muscles switched on. So the combination that we use in Pilates is your transabdominis, which sort of runs all around your spine like a corset, and your pelvic floor, which sort of runs up from your pelvis, sort of up towards that sort of corset. So in order to get these switched on, best thing to do is we can sort of teach you in a session. So the best thing to do if you're really struggling with that switching on, you're not really sure if you've got it right, is book in a one-to-one session with a Pilates instructor or a physio that can sort of do that for you and help you get that control. If you sort of know how to switch it on, the cues that we use, and you can sort of feel yourself. So if you put your fingertips sort of, if you come in an inch from your side, down an inch, you sort of feel that sort of pelvic area. If you sort of put your fingertips in that area, what you want to do from there is breathe in nice and strongly, and you sort of feel that contraction as you breathe out. Breathe in and out, and you'll feel that contraction if you're nice and braced. The way you can look to brace this is if you imagine you've got a low slung belt on. So you've got a low slung belt round that sort of area, and you want to pull that up sort of a notch. So if you pull that in a notch, you'll feel that contraction for your transabdominis. If you're looking for your pelvic floor, so imagine that your pelvic floor is like a lift, and it's got 10 floors, and what you want to do is draw it up to the 3rd floor. So you just feel that sort of drawing up sensation. Equally, another good one is imagine you've got magnets on your hips, and those hips are drawing together. So you feel that contraction, and it's that sort of light contraction. What you don't want is a massive abdominal contraction that you're probably used to getting with sort of crunches and things like that. You don't want that massive contraction because you can't sustain that. and it's not a postural muscle. So that contraction that you're feeling when you do your sort of crunches and things is sort of your rectus abdominis, which comes across the middle, and that's a power muscle. So that's a muscle for movement. What we want to engage is your pelvic floor and your transabdominis, which they're both postural muscles. So they're going to help with that spinal control while you're moving. So there we've taught you the 3 most common positions that we use for a basic class of Pilates. If there's any other positions we use, then throughout the class we will then teach you how to set in those positions. Why not start out now? If you look up at the cards, there's a basic class there that you can start to get a real sense of Pilates and what it's about. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and click the bell so that you get notified about new content. We're releasing content all the time about Pilates, running, and general warm-ups and stretches to help you stay fit and get the best out of your workouts.